What's going on, y'all? Site Perspectives GeoFucks here. So, rent is sky high, and mind you, rent has been going up consecutively for years. You feel me? But we haven't been seeing these crazy increases, massive jumps. We've been seeing that in the past 2 years. I mean, when I say massive jumps, I'm talking anywhere from 100 plus. Like in my area, like in Michigan, your rent can jump up between $100 to $300. It's crazy. And rent already high. Like I said, you got people paying $1,500 for a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. Meanwhile, you could buy a house that's 3 bedrooms, 1.5, 2 bathrooms, maybe a basement, maybe a crawl space, maybe not. Ranch, bungalow, townhouse, whatever. It might have a backyard, it might not. Might have a garage or 2, might have 1, might have a carport, might not. But it's yours. You own it. It's more space. And guess what? It's like a fraction of what you're paying in rent. I can guarantee you that. Hell, it might even be half of what you're paying in rent. And in fact, your rent would be your property taxes. Except that's twice a year, not every fucking month. So anyways, and you own it. You build in equity. You build in wealth. And you have shelter for an affordable rate. And it's going to be yours, in theory. But, it's crazy. And mind you, rent's sky high, right? All over. And then you got investors and real estate developers and capitalists who they're turning their properties. See, they own homes or they're able to buy homes and properties. And instead of turning them back into rental properties or setting some aside for the home choice voucher program, aka Section 8, or rent with the option to own, or land contract, or just selling them, no. They're capitalists. They're hungry to the extreme. So what they're doing is they're buying up all of the real estate, all of the houses and properties, renovating, flipping them, and they're making them into Airbnbs. So now they could get $1,500 a week, not a month or more, and that's how it is. Like people have decided. So you really have entire areas across the country where there are literally almost no rentals, and the housing market, if you're trying to buy, is very crazy. The Fed is raising rates, so the rates have gone up. And then again, if you don't have money for a down payment, if you don't have a good credit score, if you don't have at least 2 years of employment, or if you're self-employed, profit and loss statements, you have to have all of your ducks in a row. It's so much to it. And that's done on purpose as well. I mean, everything is systematic as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. So you're pretty much sinking out the rental market for people because they're turning the properties into Airbnbs. And then now HUD, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, was just awarded $10.3 billion to various community development organizations and certain nonprofits, housing commissions in different, across the country. $10.3 billion is set out that's supposed to go back into creating affordable housing. And rather that's expanding the home choice voucher program, Section 8. Rather that's actually building new public housing or new housing infrastructures that's affordable to people. They've got $10.3 billion that was just released by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. I just hope that that money actually goes to where it needs to go to create affordable housing, quality of housing, accessible housing, and if possible, expand the home choice voucher program, Section 8. That's what I would hope, personally. But all of this is going on, yet the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. How is someone making $7.25 an hour going to pay $1,500 a month for an apartment? Or to rent a house or a townhouse or what have you? Now, many states pay well over $7.25. They pay over it. You know, like, what is it? Seattle, I believe it's $15 an hour. So they do pay over it. But in Seattle, if we're complaining about $1,500 a month in Michigan, that same apartment in Seattle is like $2,500, $3,000 a month. So what is $15 an hour going to do for that person? And even $15 an hour with $1,500 is ridiculous, because you're only going to get $600 a week. That's $1,200 every 2 weeks, bi-weekly. That's $2,400 a month. And you're going to be giving over half of that to rent? You really, ideally, you shouldn't be spending over 30% of your income to your shelter, right? To your housing. You know, whether that's an apartment, rent, mortgage, it shouldn't be over 30%. You want to aim at keeping, at least with rent especially, at 30% of your income. And then you can potentially throw in another 15% for transportation. But of course, gas is also sky high. In my area, gas is $4.59 a gallon. So you're making $7.25 an hour federally. People are still fighting for the fight for 15, which we needed that like 10 years ago. In 2012, we needed the 15, you know what I mean? The 15 would have been great in 2012. But now, are you kidding me? Even at 15, like I said, that's $2,400 a month. You're already giving up $1,500 of it because that's going to rent. And then in my area, gas is $4.59 a gallon. So for me to fill up my car, that's about $55 to $65. I'm gonna give it that $10 range, that cushion. And I go to work. I commute. I got to get on the highway to get to my job, or I got to take the long way down the road, which isn't bad. But when gas is $4.59, it's bad. It becomes a huge problem when gas is $4.59 and your wages are still low and stagnant. Like, and this is what's crazy, is you always have all of these, you know, conservatives, people who are against raising minimum wage, people who don't think people who work at fast food restaurants should be paid a living wage. You always have them saying, well, if we increase minimum wage, everything else is going to go up. And I'm like, the federal minimum wage has been the same since 2009. That's 13 years ago. And in 13 years, it's been $7.25 an hour federally. Now, granted, individual states have increased their minimum wage. Like I said, I believe Seattle, Washington is at $15 an hour, which is $2,400 a month. But in Seattle, Washington, they're probably already paying well over $5 a gallon. They're probably at $6, $7 a gallon in some places. I'm just being honest. So you got to ask yourself, what the hell is $15 an hour in this day and age? That's not a living wage. And Why do we want people to be making a minimum? And then if we're going to have a minimum, shouldn't it be a standard of living? Like, what the hell? We want them to live in poverty? Like, you can't afford shit, you can't buy shit, you can't get food, you can't get healthcare, you can't get housing, you can't get gas. How are you going to get to work? So all this is going on, you know, and mind you, we're still in a pandemic. Mind you, you got war all over the world and within the country. Mind you, you've got domestic terrorism, white supremacy, mass shootings, people getting shot at, innocent people minding their business, going grocery store, getting shot up because they're black. And then let's be honest, you got other mass shootings that's taking place just because. I mean, people just is out here shooting and killing everybody. You know, you go to Walmart, brrr, you go to the grocery store, brrr, you go to church, brrr, again, a church. All this stuff is going on. Still in the midst of an ongoing pandemic. It's just a lot going on. And people are tired. People are suffering. And something has got to give. Like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You know what I mean? This is absolutely ridiculous. And we all deserve better than what we are getting. And it's about time we start demanding better. Instead of sitting up, being divided and conquered 24/7. Because as much as we sit up here and everybody's divided and conquered, we got a lot more in common than we do that's different. I can almost guarantee you that, because I'm quite sure whether you a racist ass motherfucker, whether you homophobic, whether you black, gay, LGBT, handicapped, disabled, you know what I mean? It don't matter. I bet you still need a house. You need shelter. I bet you still need water. I bet you still need food. We got a lot more in common than what you're doing. But of course, the powers that be gotta have us all divided and conquered. I mean, shit. If everybody angry and hating and killing each other and fighting against each other, then damn. We can't come together to have a class consciousness. We can't unite and stand with the people with the power and demand better. We can't do that because we killing each other. We hate each other, right? But like I said, the people controlling the show, they don't give a damn about you or me. Remember that one. Because if they did, it wouldn't be all this murder, death, hell, suffering, and mayhem. But I'm home. This video, I don't know, it's going to go up. And information on the rent prices, cost of gas, food, what's going on, stuff that I just talked about in this video will be in the description box below. And as always, I strongly suggest and recommend you do your own research. Critically think, look up, investigate. Critical thinking leads to critical thought.